Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to break down the simple formula that can totally unlock your financial future. And listen, it's not some big secret, it's not magic, it's just math. For so many of us, this whole idea of financial freedom, it feels like this distant, almost impossible dream, right? We all want it, but the path forward can seem so cloudy. And that uncertainty, it just leads to frustration, or even worse, just giving up on saving altogether. But what if I told you the path was way clearer and honestly more achievable than you probably think? What if you had like a roadmap? Well, today, that's what we're going to do. We're going to show you the simple, straightforward numbers that can turn that dream into a real, concrete plan you can actually follow. All right, let's get right into it. The whole engine, the secret sauce behind building wealth over time, it all comes down to one core concept: compound interest. Seriously, if you can wrap your head around this one thing, you've pretty much got the keys to the kingdom. So what is it? Just think of it like a snowball rolling down a hill. It starts out tiny, right? But as it rolls, it picks up more and more snow, getting bigger and faster. Your money does the exact same thing. The earnings you make, they start making their own earnings. It's your money making money for you. Just look at how this thing accelerates. It's wild. Okay, so year one, your 100 grand earns you 20 grand. Simple enough, right? But check this out. By year three, that same investment is now pulling in almost $29,000 in a single year. How is that possible? Well, it's because you're not just earning a return on your initial cash, you're earning a return on your returns. That right there is the magic of compounding in action. Okay, so how does this whole compounding snowball thing actually play out in the real world? Let's take a look at two totally different scenarios. You're going to see just how much the variables of time and returns can change, well, everything. First up, let's imagine someone who's 55 years old. They've got a solid 100 grand saved up, and they're adding another $1,000 a month. Now, they've only got 10 years till retirement, so that rate of return is absolutely critical. A conservative 3% gets them to about $272,000. Not bad. But what if? What if they aim for a more ambitious 20% average return? Whoa, that pushes them incredibly close to $1 million. The difference is just staggering. Okay, now let's completely switch gears. Picture a 25-year-old who's starting from absolute zero. They have nothing saved. But they have something way more powerful: a 20-year runway. Time is their superpower. So they save that same $1,000 a month. At a typical 7% market average, they'll have nearly $500,000 by the time they're 45. Pretty amazing. But if they can get that same 20% average return we talked about, we're talking multi-millionaire status. This is where time just completely supercharges the math. In this chart, this is where the math just gets kind of mind-blowing. You can literally see the explosive power of combining a long timeline with higher returns. The growth isn't just a straight line up, it's exponential. Think about it. Going from a 10% return to a 20% return doesn't just double your money. No, in this scenario, it more than triples it. That is the insane power of compounding over 2 decades. So we've talked about returns, we've talked about time, but there is one more lever you can pull, and trust me, its impact is just as dramatic. And that is simply the amount you save. Okay, let's go back to our 25-year-old for a second and stick with that ambitious 20% return. We already know what time and returns can do for them. But what happens if they pull that third lever we just mentioned, their savings, and somehow find a way to double what they put in each month, from $1,000 to $2,000? So with $1,000 a month, we already saw they hit an incredible $2.24 million. That is absolutely life-changing. But by doubling that savings to $2,000 a month, the final number also doubles to almost $4.5 million. Now, the huge takeaway here is this: every single extra dollar you manage to save doesn't just add $1 to your final pot of money. No way. It's a dollar that gets put to work, compounding over and over and over for decades. And that yields a massive, massive impact down the line. Okay, so all this theory is fantastic, right? But it all boils down to the most important question there is. What does your personal path, what does your personal math actually look like? Now, I know exactly what a lot of you are probably thinking. Save $2,000 a month? Are you kidding me? That's impossible for me right now. And hey, you might be right. But the point of a quote like this isn't to make you feel bad. It's to stretch your thinking, to get you to imagine what could be possible over your entire career. The goal isn't to magically hit that number tomorrow. It's to get creative, to focus on growing your income and your ability to save over time, and just to see the incredible potential the math holds. This is where you can really start to build your own map. You can actually work backward from a big goal, let's say $1 million. So as you can see here, saving $1,000 a month at a 10% return gets you there in about 22 years. But look what happens when you start pulling those levers we've been talking about. If you can somehow boost your savings to $2,000 a month and get a 15% return, that timeline gets slashed to just 13 years. That's the power you have. These variables are the things you can actually influence. So, what's the big takeaway from all this? Financial freedom, it's not some one-time event like winning the lottery. It's a journey. It's a process. It's a step-by-step climb. It starts with that very first step of saving, even if it's just a tiny amount. And then each step builds on the last one. Growing your savings, learning more about how money works, and just sticking to the plan consistently. It's a process, not some magic finish line you cross overnight. You see, the math itself is actually pretty simple, but its implications, they're profound. You have the framework now. You've seen with your own eyes how pulling these different levers, savings, returns, and time, can fundamentally change your entire financial future. So really, there's only one question left, and it's the one you have to answer for yourself. What's your plan going to be?